Can you unmute?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, real nice to meet you, Mac. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Yes, sir. I
And
appreciate you having me on.
yeah, so I went to your YouTube channel and looks like you have a decent following. So um, do you know how to, have you ever used Zoom before?
I have actually used Zoom. I've done a couple interviews myself for the channel on Zoom.
Okay, so you know there's a Dropbox menu to share your screen. It's a
Yes,
green box.
absolutely.
And Sephora, yes, we record our sessions every day. You could go back. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on their channel, as well as
Perfect.
Mac's interview.
All right, let me get this pulled up here.
So why don't we start with your handle? Why are your alerts notorious?
So Notorious Alerts, I created that handle when I first got into trading. Before I was a stock trader, then I was an MMA fighter as well.
You want to
So,
share? Are you going to share your screen, buddy?
oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just have to hit start, and then we could see your setup.
Perfect.
Okay, so okay, great. So go ahead and tell us how you came up with the handle.
Did you actually say
Yes.
you were an MMA fighter?
Yes. So I
That's
became
quite
an MMA
interesting.
fighter.
I've heard many
Uh,
stories, about people how they, from what field they came to trading, but that's a first for me.
No, I
yes.
think there was one other guy we interviewed, Steve, that was was in that cage fighting type of game. So
Okay, that's interesting.
you knew how. So was Rocky Balboa an idol of yours growing up?
Always he was.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, MMA and trading, a lot of the same mindset skills that you have to have, they're very correlated. So the
Okay.
discipline and just controlling your emotions that you have to have with trading is exactly what you have to have in MMA as well.
It's
So
all in our heads, huh, Mac?
it's, yes, it's all in your head. I would say trading is about 80% emotional and all in your head a lot of the times. And you got to look at the chart and the technicals and be aware of what's going on. But then you have to have that emotional discipline and just, trade like a robot. The ability to just take what you're seeing, read the chart, and don't psych yourself out and get FOMO or become a bag holder. So coming
So
over
you
to
have to be
MMA,
patient in the ring as well as markets.
you got to be patient and you
Pick your
have to be,
spots.
yes, you got to be tactical. You can't go in there, you can't really have any dislike towards your opponent or be emotional because then you're not going to stick to your game plan and you might just come out looking for the knockout. Whereas a trade, you might come out looking for the home run trade when you need to be taking base hits. So it's very similar in
Good
that
metaphor.
sense.
So who influenced you? How did you, or are you self-taught?
So I'm a lot self-taught, but I owe a lot of my trading journey to one of my best friends. He's on Twitter as well. His name is Mullins Momentum. He was really the first person that I knew that was trading and doing well. So I tried to learn all that I could from him, and that was really my gateway into trading.
Okay. And mainly trading U.S. equities, international. Uh,
Yes.
what's your
So
focus?
my focus is US stocks. So what I love to do is I love to do momentum trading and I do volume scalps. So I trade wherever the volume is on any given day and whatever the theme and the market currently is. I know recently with the coronavirus, then mask plays, vaccine plays, different pharmaceutical stocks have all been hot as of late. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where the momentum is as far as stocks go right now. And as of course the electric vehicles with Tesla and some other stocks there. So whatever the theme is that has momentum, that's where I like to put my focus at.
And time frames that you're mainly working on with these kind of volatile shares?
Yes, so I always look at the 1 year, 1 day chart before I do anything to get the overall picture to see kind of what's going on with the stock long term. And
Yeah.
then I switch my time frame each day when I'm trading intraday. I go to the 5-day, 5-minute time frame, which we can see right here on JAGX. This is the 5-minute chart. I do have a swing position open right now.
Okay.
And we'll look at the 1 year, 1 day here as well.
Heck of a base.
Yes. So again, I like this chart because it does have a nice base down here, right above the 200 SMA, which is the green line that I have on mine.
So this equity is under $1.
So right now it is under $1, and my target is actually $1 on this equity.
Okay. What are spreads like on an issue like this? Is this bulletin board, or actually it says NASDAQ?
Yeah, it's on the
traded
NASDAQ.
on the NASDAQ?
It is. So I almost exclusively trade on the NASDAQ.
I thought they had certain listing requirements that you couldn't fall beneath, because institutions can't trade a stock like this, right?
It
Because
has to be, yeah, it can't be trading below $1 for an extended amount of time. But stocks like this will often, where the float is low, you can see really nice runs or a potential reverse split to get the stock back above those minimum requirements. But with JAGX right now, I opened a position yesterday with an average of 71.5 cents, and my target on this swing is $1. And the reason that I like this stock is because it is a vaccine play, and a lot of these other low float vaccine plays have had really nice moves lately. And this is kind of one of the last ones to go. So I'm looking for this to get that vaccine momentum and follow suit with the other plays.
It looks like there might be some kind of news in play, because up until looks like late May, early June, there was absolutely no volume. What was that? What happened that day they had that big green volume spike, and you said you liked that? Was there news that day? Do they have an investor relations firm going out and paying people to buy the stock to create volume and liquidity?
JAGX, it's one of those stocks that it will periodically release news, and where the float is low, whenever the news does drop, then it does bring in that nice volume, which is kind of where I like to gear my focus towards.
Okay. What's the spread, out of curiosity, Mac? 75 bid, 76 offered on a stock like that, a penny?
So this one, it's actually half a penny.
Half a penny, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah, I like to keep my spreads tight because, if a trade does go south, if you have too wide of a spread, then that can just make matters.
You get killed getting in, you get killed getting out.
Exactly. So when you're taking a trade, you want to be certain of it, which there's no 100% certainty in any trade that you take, but you want to be pretty sure and have a great risk reward setup. For instance, with this trade right here, I already predefined my stop loss. So if it falls below 68 cents, then I'm out of this trade. And I would take a very small loss on it. And I have much more room for profit with my target being $1. And
okay, so you actually place an order, a sell stop order is sitting out there? Or it's a mental stop?
It's a mental stop. I love playing with mental stops because the market makers, they can see your stops when you place them in, and I don't want to risk getting rated. And that goes back to having discipline too. If your predefined mental stop hits, then you have to be out. So looking at this chart
ever gotten away from you while you had a mental stop, or you were away from your platform, or market conditions, you had a sell stop, but there was no buying coming in, that you know, you really had to, you took a hit because of market conditions and not having the physical stop order in there.
Yes, that has definitely happened. You know, it's sometimes
So you're
that is
honest.
the other, yeah, that is the other side of the coin. That if you
Because, you
don't
know, Mac, the
have,
last time I used a mental stop, my first stop was a mental institution.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay, anyway,
um,
I'm just saying I've done it, and then I rationalize. So you have the discipline because, you know, you know what it's like to take a hit in the ring,
definitely.
and you know when to, you know, perhaps be on defense, and you know, just try and get through the round. So
Yes.
obviously, you have more discipline than I do because when I use mental stops, it's usually, you know, could turn into something dangerous for me. So
So
know thyself, right?
exactly. So what I'm really big on is opportunity cost as well. So you're always looking at opportunity cost, and I keep that in mind with my mental stops because, you know, it could be easy to, like you said, get caught in whether it be an offering or some sort of bad news that just comes out, and you could really get destroyed without a hard stop. And that has
So
happened to me in the
yeah.
past.
So explain opportunity cost to the audience.
Exactly, absolutely. So opportunity cost is something that you always need to be aware of because if you're holding a stock and it's just sitting there, it's not doing anything, or it's actually dropping, and you don't want to take a loss on this because for whatever reason, I feel like a lot of newer traders, myself included when I was new, when I started trading, I did not want to accept that I was losing a trade and see that money just disappear from my account. And I felt like if I would just hold the stock, then it wasn't a loss yet and it would eventually come back up. But in doing so, what I found was one, the stock would usually keep dropping and my loss would turn to a bigger loss. And I would miss out on so many other stocks that actually are moving and have volume to the bullish side, and I would be tied up in whatever stock that I was refusing to sell. And that's the opportunity cost, is
Yeah,
missing
that's a
all of
great
the other stocks.
explanation. I think everyone's been there. Really a good point to make where you're nursing a position
Hmm.
that's not working for you, and you don't feel comfortable to assume more risk because you have a drawdown already, and then you see opportunity after opportunity come and go and pass you by.
Yes, and that's
That's
the
painful
opportunity
too,
cost.
isn't it?
It
Painful.
is very painful because
Yeah,
that almost compounds to the loss that you're already taking in whatever position that you're in because it's potential profits that you're missing out on.
right.
So the way I look at it is, you know, if I'm not making profits that I would have taken the trade on, then that's a loss to my account. So that's missed opportunity right there for no reason.
Okay. All right. I
Um,
think that's a great thing to cover because, you know, uh, that's why it's okay. I teach, tell me what you think, Mac. I teach that the most important word for a trader is next.
yes, I completely agree with that.
Okay.
Um,
Next
the,
doesn't have to be right away, like revenge trading, but
no,
it's next. Did you journal in the beginning to get a handle on your strengths and weaknesses in trading?
I did actually. I would journal and I would go back and look at my trades um, each and every day. In the beginning, they were mostly losses. So what I would do is when the market would be closed and, you know, I could think clearly and not have any new trader emotions attached to my thoughts, I would
Hmm.
look at the charts, my entries and exits, and try to understand why I took the trade. And most of the time, I found that I had no rational explanation as to why I was getting in a trade other than FOMO, the fear of
Right.
missing out.
Or you just
And
wanted to make money. You're scanning and you figure out, I'll give it a shot. Do you plan your trades?
I do plan
Like
my
over the
trades.
weekend, you do your research or during the week and you know what you want
Yes.
to do before the market gets there?
So it's about 50-50. I do plan my trades, but sometimes if the market gives conditions that I was not planning for, then I have to react with what the market is giving me as well.
Okay. All right.
So yes, I try to stay current on, again, what the current momentum themes are in the market, with what's going on in the world news, and how I'm interpreting that news as to how it could affect the stocks. Um,
You ever attacked indexes where you're just trading general market direction rather than specific issues, or are specific issues your bailiwick?
Specific issues is generally where I like to stay,
Okay.
because it is rare that I hold a stock more than a couple days.
Okay.
So I just try to capitalize on the momentum.
Okay. All right. And what do you use for screening? Just, because we have COVID, and biotech became very popular in search for a vaccine, and maybe the
Yes.
theme changes. Say, for example, there was an oil cutoff in the Strait of Hormuz. You would start uh, looking at energy issues. Is that really you just go off the fundamental flow of what Robinhood traders are paying attention to and just look to take a piece out of the market? Is that your style?
Yeah, that's largely my style. And what I like to do as well is, can you see the Finviz screen that I have
Yes,
pulled up?
got it.
So I do enjoy getting on Finviz and looking at the top gainers um, in the market to kind of see where the biggest percent gains are, which
Yeah.
today it looks like it's MIST. Um, and that is a biotech stock.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of like to see where a lot of action is going currently. And then I will
Yeah.
scroll down and look through these. And a tool that I love to use um, is biofarmcatalyst.com. So
Okay.
this is a
A
great
subscription
source.
service.
No, it's actually free. This is a free
Mhm.
website.
Okay.
Um, so I like to go here and look at the FDA calendars. Get
Right.
this to load up here. And I love looking for catalysts that are in the near term
Yeah.
that could indicate, that there might be a run up leading up to whatever catalyst date is listed. Um,
Well, I
so
see the first one. Alec is working on my problem.
yes,
What's your name again?
my name.
Yeah, frontal temporal dementia. It was a
Uh,
joke. Anyway, do you ever play the downside of these, Mac? You ever short
so
issues? What were you doing when everything was falling apart into the March low? Were you still trading alongside? What were you doing in that panic?
so in that panic, honestly, I had a really, really great time with trading. Because with the low float stocks that I trade, um, all the vaccine plays and the
Yeah,
mask plays were running wild because there was so much fear associated in the market and the world as an entirety. And any play associated with COVID, if news
yeah,
would come out that COVID is in the headline or they're doing a potential vaccine play, then you would see crazy movers.
hmm
And it was really fun trading those stocks on the long side.
So it's kind of like what Jim Cramer says: even in a crash, there's a bull market somewhere.
Exactly. It's all about finding that opportunity and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, that was really fighting a bad tape for these things to be performing in that. But uh, you know, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what kind of business model do you have? You trade yourself? Do you teach other people? Do you have any kind of service that you market?
So I just trade myself, and I do have my Twitter account that I try to help newer traders through my tweets,
Yeah.
and the YouTube channel as well. I try to do a lot of I try to emphasize psychology more so
Okay.
than fundamentals or technicals, even though that is very important. I feel like there's a lot of great sources and information out there that people can um, get down the technicals and fundamentals from people that are far better equipped to explain that than I am. So I like to put my focus on the psychology and how to manage your own emotions during trading these markets.
Okay. Give us a tip about how do you stay in a trade? Give me a tip. How do you stay in a trade to objectives and have the discipline to do it instead? Do you sell part of your position to satisfy your near term or
So
have, I mean,
for
I'm
for
going to go
me,
over a few psychological issues. I call that first daylight syndrome, where
uh-huh,
you have money made and you take it right away. So how do you
yes.
overcome that?
So for me, what works that allows me to overcome it is whatever trade that you're going to take, you analyze it properly. You don't just blindly buy a trade for whatever reason because you see that it's moving up for the time being. You want to analyze it, look at the charts, know where the support levels are, know where your resistance level is, and predefine your plan before entering the trade because it's
Mhm.
much easier to be thinking clearly before you're um, financially invested in a trade.
So what's your
Then,
self-talk? Say like this trade right here, you have a $1 objective for Jags, right? And
yes.
you're long from say mid 70 cents, and we're trading 85 cents. Are you willing to risk that dime or 12 cents to make another 12 cents? And how do you
So at
tell yourself to do that?
so at that point, it's about trusting the plan. I would have my stop loss predefined, and I would have my target. And as long as extreme bearish volume or sell off doesn't come into play, then I'm going to trust the plan.
Okay,
With
you are
stocks like this,
disciplined.
with low float stocks,
Yeah.
um, if the move is over, it's going to be very easily to see because you're going to have large sell off very quickly.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's time to accept, okay, my target was $1. I didn't quite get there. Let me walk away with whatever profits that I might have. As
Okay.
long as you're leaving each trade with some profits, then it's going to be worth your time.
Okay. Didier, I could tell from looking at his screen that Mac trades on Thinkorswim. So that's an
Yes.
TD Ameritrade platform. What's the most important lesson that you teach new traders that you work with, Mac? Is it risk management? Um, do you tell them to be realistic about how long it takes you? How long did it take you to get good?
It probably
How
took
many years?
me right at 2 years to get
Okay.
good.
So, I mean, I've interviewed quite a few people. I ask that question quite a bit. So, you're basically that's twice as fast as the average answer. And so, the most important thing you learned before you made your break, after you made your breakthrough after 2 years, was what?
The most important thing I learned was staying patient. Um, Sometimes the best trade of the day is no trade at all. In the
Okay.
beginning, I felt like each and every day when I would wake up, I had to be in something. It didn't matter what I was going to be trading, I just had to trade anything. But sometimes the best trade is just to sit out and wait for that opportunity to come to you because as traders, we don't get paid for the amount of time you're sitting behind the screen.
Right.
You could sit here 8 hours a day and actually lose money. You get paid per opportunity. And if that right opportunity isn't there, then you're not going to get paid anyway. So there's no need to take it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, if you walk your talk, I'm a believer because you talked all about the important discipline. Obviously, you didn't get tagged enough in the head. You have all your marbles, Mac.
Yeah,
And, you know, like
thankfully.
it or not, after going through the fire with me on an interview, you're now my trading warrior brother. And, you know, you're my first MMA guy you have to back me up too if we get into a battle. But you're my
Absolutely.
trading warrior brother now, Mac. And want to
Absolutely.
and I want to thank you for coming here and sharing some of your knowledge and talking about your journey. And I just want to show your Twitter handle. Well, there it is. You could follow him at Notorious Alerts, and it's Mystic Mac. And really appreciate you being with us. I hope that you and your loved ones remain untouched. Any vibe on, since you trade vaccination biotechs, you have a vibe on this COVID-19, how it's going to play out?
So from what I'm hearing, is there is going to be another wave that is coming through, and I think another wave of panic will pop up. So I would say keep vaccine plays, mask plays, potential even drone plays on watch, or food delivery service.
Okay.
Anything that um, correlates to the panic with the virus itself,
You
or
think there'll
people
be
staying at home.
lockdowns again in the fall?
Uh, I think it's probable.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. It was great meeting you, and thank you so much for being here today, Mac. And uh, I think that you're a good follow for people that want to spec in some of these low float issues. A lot of people
Thank you very
poo-poo
much.
them, but because they're high risk, but they're also high reward if you do your due diligence. So, uh,
Exactly.
all right. So thank you very much, Mac. Good hunting. And that's a wrap for us today, everyone. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios. Thanks
Take
again,
care.
buddy.